Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. It's Eclectic DIY. Thanks for downloading the show. Today, Nicole and I are going to talk about mechanics in Pakistan that fix their trucks in the middle of a highway.
That's just crazy.
I don't know. I have several YouTube accounts, and I have different niche interests for each of those accounts, because that way my regular main account, which I watch the regular stuff, doesn't get polluted with all these wacko things. But one of them is about DIY, like super DIY. And they're like, truck axle falls off in bustling city. And I realize they're in Pakistan because the channel's name is PAK, P-A-K space mechanics. And like the whole axle, the front axle, the wheel, everything, the ball joint, everything falls off. They jack it up. Someone goes and gets the parts. They get a welder. They weld this. They fix that. They put it all together. And there's cars and trucks flying by. And there's safety is maybe third or fourth on the agenda there. And
it's really insane to look at this video.
And I find it mesmerizing. And they all are real good at squatting. In the Western countries, we don't squat a lot, and I think we need to do that more. Actually, we could talk about that.
Squatting is on my list of goals.
There's a physical therapist that I watched a couple of videos about squatting, and I'm like, and I definitely I re-injured the disc in my back, and my hips aren't really moving very well, and I'm like, and it's all connected. So your hips can pull your pelvis forward, and that makes your back spin the other way. So first, number one, they do these amazing repairs. Their thumbnails can get a little wacky, but and there's always a lot of people standing around. There's like one guy doing the work and five other guys kind of kibitzing or kibutzing. I don't know if that's the right word. And if there's a tow truck involved, there's five guys trying to wave the tow truck and tell the truck guy what to do. And I was assuming there was like a lack of tow trucks. But maybe okay, you just don't want to call one unless you really have to. Right. One of them, they really needed it. It was, and their tow trucks have a crane on the back. It's just pretty cool. And it's called PAK Mechanics. If you want to watch something that isn't related to what's going on in our world, and you can enjoy your lunch. Yeah. Well, the cheapest place where you can buy a citizenship, buy a passport, is Pakistan. I just learned this today. It's $18,000. Oh, wow. Yeah. I don't know if I want to be a Westerner going there, but... No, I definitely don't want to be a woman going there. But I would love to go. I have a dear friend whose family is from there, and she told wonderful stories. So, okay, I love that. Well, that kind of leads into a different article that I read yesterday that I'm super excited about. It's like the only positive... No, that's being too negative. It's one of the positive uses of AIs that I've heard. And there's this Israeli company that is producing little robots. And they it sits on your table. So it's, 2 feet high. I see it. It has like a round head and a base, and it can move. It doesn't have arms or anything, but it can move its head and everything, and it listens to you. And they're piloting it with elderly people in Washington State. And so this little grandma is like 86. She weighs 86 pounds, and she wants to keep living alone. And so they have the little robot move in, and the robot talks to her and monitors her and, checks in with her. And she can tell the robot stories, and it records stories. So they're working on like her own memoir. Oh, neat. And the robot responds. It reacts, and it tries to interact with them 8 times a day. And at first, the grandma's like, this is dumb. I'm not into it. I'm never going to talk to this thing. And then she gets into it, and it is like a nice little companion for her. Yeah, I love this. Like, this is a big thing happening where a lot of small towns are experiencing brain drain, where the young people that can leave do, and the towns are aging. This is happening actually in Japan, because I watched these Canadians living in Japan. And now, yeah, so I mean, there are some things about AI that scare the heck out of me, but this is one of them that I think is fantastic.
I know the story was really, really cute. And I sent it to a couple friends who live alone. And my one friend was like, well, I don't think I'm that old yet. And I was like, well, that's not the point. It's just nice to have somebody checking on you. And she mentioned a different app that was called maybe Snug, where you check in on it on your phone and it alerts other people that you've checked in. And so if the app hasn't heard from you, then it tells your friends, "Hey, haven't heard from her recently," and you can take action, which I actually think is also would have been great. My grandmother would wear the necklace thing, which was thank God she would wear it because I have friends whose parents won't wear it.
Yeah,
and it's really bad. So
I'll wear it.
I'll wear it, right? I don't know. I had Bob the, what do you call him? The mechanic? Bob the
Tank driver Bob?
Tank driver Bob read a draft of my book about my grandmother, in fact, and he gave me some excellent feedback. It was lovely. I really appreciated his help.
He's like the Renaissance man.
I agree. And his podcast is really, well, I had him turn his YouTube channel into a little podcast with the RSS feed.
Yes.
Which I guess is not that hard. So I've been listening to his 3-minute daily podcast.
I like it because some of the shorter podcasts that I've tried to listen to, like Word a Day or something, they're jammed with, first of all, an introduction that's way too long, then an ad, and then maybe a minute and a half of relevant information, and then another ad, or maybe it sounds like Garden Fork, actually. But I like it because it's just, he's there and it puts the idea in your head, and then he goes and he says, see you tomorrow.
Have a great day. Make it a great day. Well,
yeah.
There's another one that Brent listens to by Ryan Holiday that's called The Daily Dad. And if you're a parent, it's 5 minutes. So it doesn't have the issues that you just brought up, like too much intro, too much outro. And it's always kind of just like a stoic thing about being a dad to think about. And Brent's received a lot of joy from that little app, that little podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Bob's podcast is called, well, his YouTube channel name is Scar-Finger, all lowercase.
It sounds a little scary, but he's not scary.
Yeah. There's a story, I guess, about the finger and the scar and all that. We all have this story.
And then, yeah, that's what it searches up if you search it up on your podcast listener too.
I want to go back to the home robot thing. We're actually dealing with that with a family member right now, and my initial solution was to put some Amazon cameras in the person's house, and one of the cameras can pan around, and also you can talk to the person, and they can't see you, but they can see the camera thing, and they talk back to the camera, and you make sure they're okay instead of making a phone call or something. But the technology is getting better and better, and it allows people to still live independently but isolation is a big trigger for dementia and Alzheimer's. So I don't know if it gets rid of that isolation, but it certainly helps.
Well, that's one of the things they're trying to do with the little robot is because the robot's interactive.
Yes.
And so they'll play little games. Apparently there's a bunch of them, and they've gotten together, their little guys, to play online bingo. Oh. Which is adorable. And then she's invited her friends from yoga over to meet the robot. It's really cute.
It's an odd design. The robot just looks like an upside down cheap candle holder to me, but I mean, okay, their heart's in the right place.
Yeah, I think it moves, and yeah. Well, yeah, there's so many good things about technology, and then there are things that you notice that are I've become accustomed to more quickly than I anticipated. So I was like, oh, cameras in the car. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Why would I need a camera? I can turn my head. I can look. But I tell you, when I get in the old car now, I'm like, where's the camera? Yes. How am I going to back this thing up?
Well, that kind of segues into the, I mentioned on the last podcast that we had bought a newer, kind of sort of new car. And a couple people were asking about it. So I thought, I don't know if I explained it correctly, but we usually have a second car as like a beater run around car that I can literally drive in the woods or something when my friends live down these dirt roads. But I've always had to, like, every 2 weeks I'd have to fix it or get some parts, or this thing fell off. And the camera operator was like, because we save money. We don't really spend a lot of money, basically. So we're always saving it. And we don't take out loans to buy things, but we had enough money to buy one of these cars from Enterprise. And so we pulled the trigger, and I feel really good about it. I think it's a car that will last 10, 15 years. And the repair rate on the thing is almost nothing. So we're actually, instead of spending that money over time, we're spending it once and not having the headache of having to take the car to the mechanic, or, when the camera operator goes somewhere with a nice car and we're upstate, I'm not stuck at home. If I need to go to the store or something. Does that make sense, or is that rambling?
No, that totally makes sense. But I want to know, like, what the tipping point was. Like, what happened with the Subaru that you were like, okay, I'm done?
It needs a timing belt.
Oh, timing belt. $1,000. Easy.
Yes, at least. I have several mechanics that I completely trust, and one of them said, Eric, it's $3,000 worth of repairs for your car, or I buy it from you for $200.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay. And then I have a neighbor friend who's a mechanic, and he's like, I can do the timing belt, but I'm busy for the next couple of months. And Subarus of that vintage at 100,000 miles are supposed to have their timing belt replaced. And if you don't replace it, maybe you can drive more, but if the timing belt goes, it destroys the engine.
It seizes up completely.
So, and if I need that, because we have an electric car, and if we decide that in the middle of winter we want to use the gas car to drive back and forth up to the little house, I want a reliable car. I don't want one where I'm going to throw the engine on the Hutchinson Parkway at 10 at night with 2 Labradors and my wife, and a tow truck that's like, you can't put those dogs in my tow truck, you know?
Oh, jeez. Well, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people my age and younger are not acquainted with what cars need. So I've had a couple friends who've bought cars that had like 86,000 miles on it. A good deal. But you have to buy a car with that, knowing that in 12, 14,000 miles, you have to get the timing belt changed. And that's going to be an investment.
Yes.
Which is fine. It's like, it's the cost of owning a car. But people kind of look at you funny and they're like, well, I mean, it's still fine now. I don't need to do it. And I'm like, you don't need to do it, except it will seize up your engine and then there's no more car.
Yeah. So everyone, a timing belt it connects the crankshaft, where the pistons are connected and turns the transmission. It connects the crankshaft to the cam shaft, CAM shaft, and that shaft has these essentially knobs on it, these oblong, oval-shaped nubs on it that push the valves open and close for the gas to go in and the exhaust to go out of the cylinder where the piston is. And if that thing breaks, the valves can fall or are in the engine sticking into the cylinder, and the piston comes up and smashes into it. And also you can just ruin your engine very, very quickly if that breaks. So
it's just not worth it. Yeah.
You're living on borrowed time as soon as you hit the 100,000 mile mark. And it really sunk in when the $3,000 mechanic, who I trust completely, I've known him 23 years. And I'm like, okay. And I've always been so scrappy. I'm like, well, we could get this thing and we could fix it up. And then, the voice of reason in my life said, why don't we look at one of these cars that have come off of lease? And then I called my friend who sells used cars, and he said, go buy it from Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And I'm like, what do you do? What do you mean by that? And he was like, just go do that. And now I understand why. I mean, where he works, they buy their cars from Enterprise and then sell them, a lot of them. It was a painless process. They buy them wholesale. I mean, they buy 20 at a time. So you get a discount. It took a couple hours, but there was no hard sell.
Did you do it online or did you?
You can start the process online, but it's not quite like Carvana where you literally have the car delivered. But I went up there and I wasn't completely sold I would buy the car that day. I had started the process, but I wanted to test drive it before hitting the finish button.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, let's just buy this thing. And I said, I don't have a check with me. And he said, well, who's your bank? And I told him who. And he goes, oh, well, it's around the corner. And he, being a smart salesperson, he drove me over there and I got a bank check. And but everyone in the office was nice. It wasn't some slimy feel to it, Yeah. And it has a year warranty on it. I know where the guy is. He lives in a neighborhood near me here. And one of my closest friends, he was my friend from high school, said, go buy the car from there. And he's sold cars for 20 years or something.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, that's great. What color is it?
It's gray. I wanted a white one, but I didn't see any white ones. This just has 30,000 miles. You could get them with fewer miles or more miles, but it just, the price goes up and down. And you also can look at they give you the Carfax report, and this one was used in Texas. It was driven mainly in Texas. And it looks like, from what I can tell, most of the upkeep and any repairs done to the car are done at a Nissan dealer and not by an Enterprise Rent-A-Car mechanic, from what I could tell looking at that. And some of the other Carfax ones, the car was all over the country and had some repairs that are documented. I'm like, I don't really want that. So I wanted a clean car, and I got it. I'm very happy. It's the base model. It doesn't have the moon roof. It doesn't have the automatic cargo back thing opening up when you walk near it, proximity sensor stuff. But it's got a highly rated engine. Consumer Reports really likes it. Jalopnik wrote an article about the Consumer Reports liking it, and also that the Reddit group, the Nissan Rogue Reddit group, loves the Rogue. And they would complain if they didn't,
Yeah, right. Well, when we were in Europe a couple of years ago, we drove the Rogue. In Europe, it's called the Qashqai, which I think is a cuter name. But harder to say, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we really enjoyed that car. So yeah, I'm here for that. That's awesome. Well, gosh, but no more mouse videos, which I'm low-key sad about.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to not having to focus on... just so much I want to do with the channel and with my little garage up there in the basement and cutting firewood. And if I don't have to work on a car, I'm really looking forward to that.
You're going to be able to do other things with your time.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great. Yay.
Hey, real quick, we all know that Eric has an Amazon store on Amazon. If you want to start your shopping there by going to our landing page, they call it storefront they call it, amazon.com/shop/gardenfork. Check out the tools I suggest: generators, winter must-have stuff. Also, anything you buy there, we get an affiliate link for, a finder's fee, plus also anything else you purchase that day on Amazon, starting from our page and going wherever in Amazon, we get a little finder's fee for that too. Helps pay the bills. Super appreciate it. Make sure to shop local. Go to your local hardware store, okay? But if you're going to Amazon, maybe try and use our link. That'd be great. Thanks.
Well, I wish that I had more things to talk about this week. I've been a little down, but I'm trying to rebound today and get some stuff done.
All right. Well, some people had some questions about me not using the Noom app anymore.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
And I guess I did a deep dive. I just want to be careful that, my paranoia is that some giant corporation, because I say some off-key remark, that they'll look like you can threaten to sue people for libel and slander and silence them, basically, because I can't afford a litigation lawyer. I like the app. I just didn't like their billing practices, and I just finally got fed up with it. And I wrote them a letter saying, I think you've taken advantage of me. and I heard nothing back. So I've talked about it in the podcast. I'm going to talk to my attorney general again, state attorney general, and my U.S. senator lives around the corner from me.
Oh.
And I see him. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to say something. Hey, I have a problem. I want to talk to your office about it or something like that. But the app is good. But what's cool was I asked Gemini AI. Rick told me to be very specific with my question. So I had a very detailed paragraph on question, but I said, I'm looking for a weight loss app that uses cognitive behavior techniques or similar, has good reviews, and I had a couple other criteria, and I hit go, and it listed, I think it was 6, and then it made 2 different charts with the pros and cons of each one. And I didn't ask it to make a chart. It just did.
Huh.
Which I was really, so I'm looking at those. I haven't picked which one. What I have noticed is a lot of the other ones offer a money back guarantee.
Oh.
And I don't know if that's a new thing, but I really like that. I did say, I did mention that Network Solutions, who I use, reminds me when something is coming up for payment, and Noom does not. They remind me when my domain names are getting renewed, but I use them for, I have one email address with them still, and it's like $60 a year. And they billed me for that the other day. They said, oh, here's your bill for that. And I knew that was coming up in April, and they billed me in February. And I looked down in the fine print. They said, we will charge you 60 days before the renewal. And I'm like, okay, I don't really like that. So I called them, and I said, I'd like my refund, and I want to cancel that. And they did. They were like, they always ask, is there something else we can do? Can we make this work? How about we give you a discount? And I'm like, no, I'm just done. And it took like 7 minutes, and that did not happen with the other weight loss company. So, yeah.
Well, I do the same thing, but with subscriptions to printed items. So the New Yorker, I guess it must be $120 a year. I don't know. Whatever amount it was, it seemed incredibly high. So I just let it lapse. And then finally they came back with like $1 a week, which I was like, okay, $52. I'll pay that for the New Yorker. But the same with the New York Times, they sent me a reminder. They were going to start charging me, like my special deal was over.
Yeah.
And so it was going to be $30 or $60 a month. And so I went in and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do that. And they were like, how about half that? And I was like, no, I still cannot do that. And I think I ended up getting it for like $4.99 a month or something. And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah, getting a customer is incredibly hard. And then customer retention is a huge thing. I think I've said this before on the show, but we were looking at buying the camera operator a newer iPhone. I don't know, it was a rebuilt or a new one. And I had it up on the page, and I think it was already in the shopping cart. And I went and did something else because I didn't want to buy it before she signed off on it. And maybe it was 4 or 5 hours later, I came back and I woke up the computer, and on the Verizon website page that I was on was a pop-up that said, if you continue this purchase, we'll knock $200 off the price of the camera.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So if you're not camera, phone. If you're buying
right.
a phone or some big number item, put it in the cart and I'll walk away for a couple hours and see what happens.
Well, and I do that on Poshmark and eBay. So people will like something or watch an item, and the apps tell me, hey, somebody, Eric watched this item, and I can send you a discount.
Oh.
And apparently 60% of my sales are the result of this discount. So if you're savvy, you have to realize that that's like how most people buy things. And so you have to mark the price up 10% so you can